Ready to go. 2 years ago I was at cheerleading and I was tumbling and I landed on my ankle wrong and I rolled it. It hurt a lot, and as I would walk, my ankle would like go like that and I couldn't walk on it. And I went to the physical therapist and they said 2 bones were popped out of place, and now ever since then the bones easily pop out, so it's hard for me to do cheerleading.
3 bones make up the ankle joint: the tibia, which is the shin bone, the fibula, which is the smaller bone of the lower leg, and the talus, which is a small bone that sits between the heel bone and the tibia and fibula. The tibia and fibula have specific parts that make up the ankle. The medial malleolus is the inside part of the tibia, the posterior malleolus, which is the back part of the tibia, and the lateral malleolus, which is the end of the fibula. A dislocated ankle is when the connective tissue surrounding the ankle joint is damaged and torn, which displaces the bones forming the joint so they are no longer situated next to each other. During certain movements of the ankle, stretching forces are applied to the ankle joint. When these forces are excessive and beyond what the ankle can withstand, tearing of the connective tissue may occur. This may allow the ankle bones to move out of their normal position if the forces involved are too great and beyond what the connective tissue and supporting muscles can withstand. When this occurs, the condition is known as a dislocated ankle.
I was doing a back handspring and I put too much pressure on it and landed on it the wrong way. When I got back up and it popped back in, there were a lot of shooting pains and I couldn't move it in like the right ways, like all the way up. And I went to the doctor and they said the muscles just needed to be worked around it, so they need to be stronger so it could hold my bone in place.
The shoulder joint is a highly mobile ball and socket joint which consists of several components such as the bones, which are the scapula, clavicle, and the humerus, rotator cuff muscles, associated muscles such as the deltoid and bicep muscles, ligaments, and joint capsule. A dislocated shoulder occurs when the humerus separates from the scapula at the shoulder joint. The shoulder joint has the greatest range of motion of any joint in the body, and as a result is particularly susceptible to dislocation. Approximately half of major joint dislocations seen in emergency departments are of the shoulder. Partial dislocation of the shoulder is referred to as subluxation. There are 3 types of shoulder dislocations: anterior, posterior, and inferior. In this case, Julia suffered from an anterior dislocation. Anterior dislocations are usually caused by a direct blow to or fall on an outstretched arm. The patient typically appears holding their arm externally rotated and is slightly abducted.
We were stunting and I got hit 3 times in a row on the right side of my head. I blacked out for a couple of seconds and then I was really dizzy and I saw stars. And then the next day I went to the doctor and they told me I had a concussion and I had headaches for the next 4 months. I had to cocoon for 3 weeks and I couldn't use my phone or go to school for a month. And when I came back to school, the lights hurt my eyes a lot and I couldn't participate in cheerleading for the rest of the year, which was the 4 months.
Inside the brain there are billions of neurons. Neurons have a fat cell body with a long wire-like structure on one side. These structures are called axons. An axon carries electrical signals. Those signals tell other parts of your brain or specific parts of your body what to do. Without neurons to communicate information from your eyes to your brain, you wouldn't even be able to see. All those neurons in the brain form a control center for the body. That's why the brain is protected by the skull. It forms a solid barrier between that control center and anything that might harm it. Inside the skull, a cushion of fluid surrounds the brain, further protecting it. This fluid keeps the brain from banging into the skull during normal activity. But extreme head movements can be too much for that cushion to handle. When the head snaps forward, back, or to the side, the skull stops moving, but the brain keeps going, smacking against the bone. A concussion is a traumatic brain injury that alters the way your brain functions. Effects are usually temporary but can include problems with headache, concentration, memory, judgment, balance, and coordination. Although concussions usually are caused by a blow to the head, they can also occur when the head and upper body are violently shaken. These injuries can cause a loss of consciousness, light sensitivity, and disorientation.